Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. This is Ozark Living. Today, super fun topic. We're just going to talk about everything you need to know about Lake of the Ozarks. Let's check it out. Hey guys, my name is Scott, and if this is your first time visiting the channel, welcome. And while you're here, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button along with that notification bell, because every Tuesday and Thursday, I'm dropping a new video telling you everything you need to know about moving to or living in Lake of the Ozarks. We're also a group of licensed lenders and agents, so as much as I love making these videos, I would love even more to help you with your lending or real estate needs. So that number popping up below, I am the guy who answers the phone calls, the text messages, and the emails. If there's a question, a scenario, or something I can do, please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. And in the meantime, we just want to talk everything about Lake of the Ozarks. And what we want to start with is obviously, where are we? So we got the map, we got Missouri, you got St. Louis, you got Kansas City. You go to the middle, you go down, and that's where you're going to find the lake. We know this lake looks like an ancient Chinese dragon, so depending on where you're at the lake. Now, what we know about this lake is it's a man-made dammed lake. Okay, so there's a dam over towards Warsaw, and there's a dam towards the northern part of the lake, which basically allows the power company to control the water levels, right? They can fill the lake when they need to, and they can lower it when they need to. And so, because this lake was dammed and created, right, you got to think this was once a rural mountainous type area. And as they created those dams, it flooded this entire area to create the lake. So obviously with the lake came a lot of lakefront properties, and obviously a lot of desire to move there and live that lake life. And so the power company basically guarantees your Memorial Day to Labor Day, where they keep the water super high, and then kind of after Labor Day, they're going to let some of the water out to generate power for the surrounding area. But because you can control the water level, obviously, even when it's low or even when they let the water out, it's not like the lake runs dry. It's a very deep lake, of course. But because they control that water level, that's what creates the drive and the desire to want to come down and spend time during that Memorial and Labor Day timeframe, right? That's what they call the peak season. So if you're thinking about coming down or visiting or relocating or whatever that is, understand that Memorial to Labor is the peak season. That's where the majority of the lakeside restaurants open up. That's where a lot of the activities open up. That's when the tourists start to come into town. The weather is phenomenal. The lake's full. And obviously there's a lot of desire to come down and hang out during that peak season. Those are also just things to think about on, your purpose for coming down, right? If you're just coming down to hang out, obviously a really good time. If you're looking to purchase anything down here and you're relocating permanently, depending on where you live on the waterways, is going to depend on how much of that touristy traffic you're going to have to kind of deal with, right? And some folks want to be in the heart of everything. Cool. Some want to be a little bit off the beaten path. Great. You got to think about where on the water would you want to be, and then obviously how much of that touristy traffic are you going to have to kind of deal with, once we hit those peak seasons. Something else to think about if you're looking to relocate permanently is in those off seasons. So when it's not Memorial to Labor and you get into October and November's, there's a lot of those lakeside restaurants, there's a lot of those activities that shut down for the wintertime. There's not enough people or traffic in order to run those establishments. So pros and cons, good or bads, don't know, but we know, right? It's a dammed lake. There's 1,150 miles of shoreline, which is more than the state of California. There's a massive attraction to come down during, Memorial to Labor. And again, just depending on what you're looking to do when you come down, if you're looking to do some type of purchase owner occupied, you might want to think about where you're at on that lake. Or if you're thinking about an investment property or short-term rental, we might want to put you in those higher trafficked areas to maximize your rentability and maximize your cash flow. And because of where this lake is located in the Missouri or the southern part of the country, one of the good factors about this is going to be the weather. And yep, that Memorial to Labor Day, that peak season, that's a phenomenal time frame. But even in the off season, you're not going to have those harsh winters. So there's a big desire to maybe relocate or have a second property or do something in this location, because your seasons are longer in a sense that your summertime season is longer to allow you to maximize as much time as you can. But that's not just because of the lake, but if you enjoy outdoor activities like hiking and biking and you like to go to, state parks, or maybe you do the ATV or recreational equipment, or you like camping, like you got to remember, again, this is a mountainous area. It's very rural. There's a lot of woods and trees and nature. And so if you enjoy getting outside and you like sunshine and you want to explore, then this is a phenomenal area to do it. Of course, you would have everything lake life with swimming, paddle boarding, canoeing. Obviously, there's fishing, any sporting event or anything sporting with the boat, like skiing or tubing, wakeboarding, surfing. You can obviously just cruise around in your pontoon and hit lakeside restaurants, but there's a huge desire coming down here just because of the weather and having a longer season to enjoy all of those outdoor activities. Another hot topic and thing to know about this area is the cost and affordability of the Ozarks. And, again, whether you're looking for a very specific lakefront property, if you think about lakefront properties in general and where you can find those price points of some of those properties, depending on the lake that it's at, or if you're trying to find a coastal property, it could be very expensive to do that. And the Ozarks is a below the national average suppressed price point area. So, super cool if that's what you're looking for and that's the desire to have lakefront, to have the boat, to have the dock, and have everything right out your back door. Super cool. But not everybody is thinking about lake life, right? There are plenty of other opportunities and things to explore when you're in this area. And there are a lot of amazing, what we call second or third tier homes that are off the water. They're a little bit up on the hillside with some amazing views. And a lot of things that folks are talking to us about is space and elbow room and the ability to breathe kind of thing. There's a lot of desire from, again, folks that we're talking to that live in metropolitan areas or California's, city kind of life where it's super cramped and congested. And there's this conversation they have talking about wanting space, or I would love to have some acreage, or I want a neighbor, but I don't want to touch their house, stuff like that, right? And don't have to be on the lake, but some of these second or third tier homes give you the lake views that you might be looking for and the proximity to the lake. You could still have your boat down into some type of marina if you want a boat, but those second or third tier homes are really great options. And then there's all the off lake properties as well. If the lake isn't the biggest desire and you just want some elbow space and some room and some acreage, 5, 10, 20 plus acres of room, you want to do farm or animals or have all of those amenities right there on your property, that's easily doable. And there's still a ton of land that you can just buy and build or do what you want with. So again, just food for thought. Not everything is lake life, right? There's a big desire and a draw, and that's what this lake is. It draws people in because of the amount of shoreline, the amount of restaurants that are around the lake, the fun, the activities. But it's the outdoor experience that everybody gets. And again, it's the state parks, it's the recreational things that you can do outside, the golfing. I mean, there's a lot of desire for this area based on the location and the weather that we're in, right? Those that are escaping the northern states because they hate the harsh winters, maybe they're getting a little bit towards the retirement stage and they just don't want to shovel their driveway all the time. Like, there's a desire to be in a warmer climate where, again, those seasons are expanded a little bit longer than some of those northern states. And again, because of where it's located, and we've talked about it a number of times on this channel, right? This is a mountainous rural area and lots of trees, a lot of forest land. Again, that's what this once was before they put a dam on one side and dam on the other and flooded the entire Ozark Lake. But because of the location and the humidity and the warm weather and obviously the dense kind of forest area, the other thing that we know about this and something to think about and consider is the bugs, right? There are going to be bugs. Depending on where you live now, you might not experience a whole lot of it. You might not care. If you got bug problems, if you got bug fears and phobias and whatever, like, you might want to think about it. You might want to come down and take a visit. you can certainly call and talk to my wife and she'll give you all the bug information. We know when we purchased our property, like, it was just bug infested. You know, spiders and skeeters and webs and everything all over the place. And almost to the point where my wife was like, look, we can't do this. But then you realize and you learn and you talk to some folks, and there are ways to control the bugs. There's obviously, you know, mitigation and sprays and things that can happen. So they're still gonna fly around and they're still gonna crawl around and they're still gonna be there. And I joke and I kid about the bugs just mainly because it's funny to watch my wife freak out. But it's a thing. So if you got bug problems or phobias or things, right, that's something that we need to know about the lake in the Ozark area. You're gonna run into that. It's gonna be a thing, but there's ways to handle it. So again, kind of wrapping up, that we know that Lake of the Ozarks is a very desirable place because of the location of where it is, the massive size of the lake, and 1,150 miles of shoreline that creates tons of fun and activities. It creates opportunity to have a lake home with a dock. It has it at a suppressed price point compared to other places in the country. But we know the surrounding area is phenomenal too, with a lot of elbow space and room. There's the small town community feel where you're gonna run into your neighbors. You're gonna build community with the schools or with the churches or whatever it is that you're into. It has that kind of Midwestern small town feel. And again, the weather of where the Ozarks is allows it to be super conducive for all of your outdoor activities and again, hiking and biking and trails and state parks and recreational things like dirt bikes or, you know, four-wheelers, or if you just like to go camping, obviously a lot of fun with that. And a lot of people enjoy that longer season than, again, in those northern states that, you know, have more of a shorter season because the winters are longer. A lot of folks, right, thinking about relocating just because of the weather in general. And then also, right, as we coming down, we know that this is, right, a dammed lake created out of the mountains. It is going to have tons of woods, tons of nature. It's gonna have some bugs. And so food for thought, come down, visit, go hang out at my property, rent it, find a place on the lake, experience everything that you would need to experience, right? We know before you make a transition, whether it's, you know, a permanent relocation for you and your family, whether it's a pure investment opportunity, whether it's a vacation home that you want to flip to a short-term rental when you're not there. Like, we got to explore the areas, but those are some of the reasons, like, why and things that we need to know about the lake before making those final decisions and coming down. So just some things to think about as you're starting to kind of make your transition or weigh your pros and cons. So again, we say it all the time, right? We are licensed lenders and agents. As much as I love making these videos, I would love more to help you with your lending or real estate needs. So one more time, that number popping up below, I am the guy that'll answer that phone call, text message, and email. If there's a question, a scenario, or just something I can do, please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. And until the next video, we'll see you then. Bye. Like an ancient Chinese dragon, so depending on where you're at the lake, nah, scratch that. That's where you're gonna find the lake. Now, when you look at the lake, if you look, we say it all the time, right? We're before coming down. So just some things to think about as you're not like the lake runs dry. It's a very deep lake.